Folks, we got a special bonus episode for you today, but it was recorded under not my usual circumstances and my usual equipment, so my audio is a little bit janky. I hope it doesn't interfere too much with your enjoyment. And now, on with the show.
1, 2, 3, 4. Monster movie.
Fun time, go! Monster movie.
Fun time, go. Monster
Movie.
Fun time,
Go!
Monster movie. Fun time, go.
With Precious D and Honey Bee.
Fun time, go!
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, friends and neighbors, welcome to Monster Movie Fun Time Go. I am your host, Precious D, and this is a special bonus episode. Longtime listeners will know that we occasionally cover role-playing games when they are kaiju-related, and today we're talking about the ultimate in kaiju-related role-playing games, Godzilla, the role-playing game. That's right, an official Godzilla game is kickstarting right now from IDW Games, and here to talk with me about it, I have Ellen Boner, the game's editor, and Chad Burnett, games manager. Welcome to the show, folks.
Hi, thanks for having us. I will say, I think Chad's last name is Wood.
Yeah.
Chad, okay. That's what I was emailed, but
No worries.
I'll take your word for it.
I'll have to check with my parents, make sure they haven't lied to me. But
Okay, all right then. So, tell us a little bit about this new role-playing game.
Yeah, absolutely. We're so excited to be here. So this is a new tabletop role-playing game featuring some of the most iconic, perhaps the most iconic kaiju of all time, including everyone from Godzilla to Destroya to Mothra, all of those that are from the original, like the Toho canon and specifically set within the world of the Kaisei universe, which is the Kaisei era comics that are coming out of IDW right now. That being said, it is compatible with any other version of the Toho that you would want to play with. We have a whole kaiju generator, so you can make and adapt whatever kaiju you'd like for the game. But it is a teamwork-based party-based TTRPG game where you and your team of recruits and heroes try to defend the world from the onslaught of kaiju.
Excellent. You play as members of G-Force, not to be confused with the G-Force from Battle of the Planets or the guinea pig spy G-Force from Disney.
Or maybe it is that. Maybe that is who you're playing.
I mean, it's your role-playing game. You do whatever you want with it. You smash your toys together however you want.
Exactly.
G, of course, stands for Gatsby Force. So this is not a dice-based game. This is a card-based game. Tell me, why the decision to go with cards?
Yeah, so when we were coming back, IDW Games had done games previously, specifically board games and card games several years ago. And we wanted to, when we were bringing back the department, we wanted to work on things that were more aligned with our general publishing ability. So we are a publisher. As IDW Publishing, we do comics and books already. So TTRPGs were really interesting to us. But when we talked about doing TTRPGs, we were also interested in making something new that could make our games distinctive and also feel like they were all in the same family. So we wanted to make a new system that they would all be based in. And for me personally, as a TTRPG fan, I knew, obviously we all know, that dice are very popular and they're also kind of the default for TTRPG games. And we thought this was a really great opportunity to build something new, not only for our benefit, but for the gaming community's benefit. Because if you're going to build a new system, how do you make sure that it's new and unique and additive to the game making space? And for us, using cards was a way to explore that because it is such a underexplored avenue of a random mechanics generator. Dice are fantastic. I love dice. I know there are other games that are based around cards, but way fewer. And I thought there was a lot more space for us to explore in a new original system if we used a different generating mechanic like cards.
Now, are there any plans to use this system for other role-playing games, other settings?
Nothing we can announce specifically yet, but this is something we're definitely interested in continuing this initiative and making more games and hopefully, people are really excited about the Godzilla game so far, so that bodes well for us doing more in the future.
Yeah, I can think of at least 2 other games that started with a specific intellectual property license and then spun off into their either other licenses or to their own generic system to use in any setting. So,
yeah, which ones are those pop into your head specifically?
The Star Wars game from Fantasy Flight, which became Genesis, and the Dragon Age system from Green Ronin that turned into the Age system, both of which I quite like. So we'll see where Godzilla ends up.
We'll see.
So why the Kaisei era? Just because that's what you guys are currently working on in the comics end?
So there's a couple of reasons for that. One, for an RPG game, you want to be able to play characters who are exceptional and powerful. And one thing that's iconic about Godzilla movies, especially more classic Godzilla movies, is the human characters are less central to the story. But based on what we know about the kaiju are forces of nature. Role-playing them as the central part of a campaign would be quite difficult for the full thrust of the narrative device, right? Like whenever you see a Godzilla movie, like Godzilla -1, for instance, the characters are human. They have abilities and skills, but they are very human. They're very realistic, which there's definitely room to play as a fully grounded, realistic character. But we wanted to give people an opportunity to infuse a bit of fantasy into the characters they were playing. And a really fantastic thing about the Kaisei era is that it includes something called Kaisei energy. And Kaisei energy is this supernatural power source that is sort of the life force of the kaiju and this mysterious, almost godlike energy that flows through the universe. And it has also begun to affect human beings. It has mutated some people and turned them into essentially like kaiju mutants. So you have the opportunity to play something like that in the game as well. And it just, the way that world is built feels more aligned with the experience and setting you would want for an RPG game. And as I said, you can of course play like a low, I don't want to say low magic because it's not magic, but low fantasy setting where it's the kaiju are the extraordinary monsters you're fighting and you are all playing normal human soldiers or citizens. You can definitely adapt this system for any version of the Godzilla universe you want, but this just opened us up to more things. And then on top of that, we have so much fantastic art for the Kaisei universe. It was just a really interesting setting to explore for a game like this.
Now, I've read a little bit of that Kaisei stuff, but I was also reading, what was it called? The one where Mechagodzilla is a spaceship?
Spaceship Godzilla, yes. That is another element of the Kaisei era, actually. That is one of our Kaisei era books.
So will any of that material be included in the game?
So we do reference material from the Starship Godzilla issue. For this book, we wanted to stay on Earth. We wanted to keep our feet on the ground, though there are references to the aliens from Starship Godzilla. And this is the sort of thing that, depending on how the first game goes, we'd love to talk about potentially doing an additional setting, right? Like this is the idea of doing space, we'd want to do that justice. And I feel like that is a setting in a campaign style that would require its own manual.
Yeah, definitely. Well, I think people are hoping there will be expansions for this, either era-specific setting books or just adventure paths or what have you. Do you have plans for that kind of stuff, or you just have to see how this first project goes?
It all depends. It really depends on how the first project goes. We are definitely interested in it. It just depends on where we sit and how everything lands with that and where the publishing schedule is. And as we've said, we have plans for follow-up games. So this is something we definitely want to continue doing. And if there is demand for more setting manuals and adventures, we'd absolutely love to do that.
Chad, you're a little quiet. You want to jump in here? Any thoughts or feelings?
Sure, man. I handle a lot of the operation and coordination side of things, and a lot of these questions just so far have been on the creative side, which is Ellen's domain. Fantastic.
Yeah, I was about to say, yeah, let's get Chad in here.
To answer the present question, I will say that, like Ellen said, there's nothing we can confirm right now, but I can tell you that we're both we're pushing for it on our end, and we're hoping that the Kickstarter does well and that the game is received well, because the better it's received and the better the Kickstarter does, the more leverage we have to be like, okay, cool, so now let's do the Starship Godzilla, let's do a Dead Zone specific adventure. But it all comes down to the brass tacks of how well does the game received, right? So that's what we want to make sure we're able to justify.
Well, when I checked earlier, the Kickstarter was sitting at $146,142 over a $60,000 goal. So it's doing okay. There's still
Yeah, not too shabby.
We're doing pretty good. We're almost at our second stretch goal unlock, so pretty excited.
Yeah, it runs till April 2nd. I'll go ahead and say 2026 in case you stumble across this episode in the distant future at 11:59 a.m. Central Daylight Time is when it ends. Of course, I've already pledged because I have a problem.
We look to enable it.
Now, there is also an option to play as kaiju.
Yes.
Yes. Yeah. Chad, we can share the answer on this one, but short answer, yes. Chad, do you want to speak a little bit more about that system?
Funny enough, I think these are the meetings that I've had to miss because of other things so far. So it would be better. I know that we have a system to play as kaiju. I know that a lot of it is focused on either kaiju v kaiju battles, or I want to say there was an option for like our players controlling a friendly kaiju if that comes up in your adventure, right?
Yeah, absolutely. So we wanted to be able to accommodate, because we knew that for running a campaign, it made more sense to play as human characters, because even in Godzilla classic movies, like the heart of the story is so much about like the humans trying to survive. So we wanted humans to be central for like an ongoing campaign or adventure, but we definitely recognize that players will want to play as kaiju, which the first thing we say to that is, have you considered being a DM? The DM is always playing it. Maybe this is your time to finally step on the other side of the DM screen. But in addition to that, we wanted to provide a range of situations in which people might want to play as kaiju, because some people will just want to have a normal campaign that they maybe have an allied kaiju who they fight alongside for a particular battle. There also might be people who, as a DM, sometimes you can use a trick to pass off a little bit of the combat load to another player. So letting players run a kaiju in that sort of scenario, or just kaiju versus kaiju brawl to the death, taking down cities as you fight. And we came up with I'm really excited with the different options we have for all of those to accommodate whatever you're looking for in that play style.
Now, do the kaiju use the same basic system as the human players, or is it a subsystem? Do they have, similar stats and
it's actually
actions?
So it's actually quite different, and I like that. It is not different in a way that is more complicated. The reason it's designed slightly differently is, one, a kaiju just is fundamentally different than any sort of human being character. But more importantly, we wanted any character, kaiju or otherwise, that is run by the DM to have a lower cognitive load for the DM. So as we all know, when you're playing on the DM side of the table, it's a lot to manage an entire character sheet at the same level that a character sheet looks for players. So the kaiju sheets are designed to guide you and help make decisions for the kaiju and any of the other antagonists. There are cultists you can have, there are aliens you can play as. Like, all of those also involve like some random generation mechanics that allow you to make decisions a lot faster while running that from the DM side. So for instance, each kaiju has up to 4 attacks, and each attack is keyed to a suit of the deck. So they have a spade attack, a heart attack, a heart attack, a clubs attack, a diamonds attack.
Not a heart attack.
Not a heart attack. I think that's not the first time I've said that, but it always surprises me whenever it comes up in the conversation. But you would draw a card randomly from your deck, which the DMs work from something called the crisis deck. When they draw a card from the crisis deck, depending on the suit of the card, it determines which attack they will be doing. And if it's a higher value card in that suit, it would be a more devastating version of that attack or a less devastating version of an attack. So for instance, if I draw the Jack of Spades, I will do my slashing claw maneuver, and it will be at a damage. It will deal 3 points of damage versus a certain level of save required. And this is a completely made up off the top of my head version of the attack, versus if I drew a 2 of diamonds, I might use my regenerative ability, which will regain the kaiju a hit point of willpower at a certain level.
So we should say that the game uses a standard deck of playing cards. And
yes.
There's a special, Godzilla themed deck as part of the Kickstarter. You could use just any old deck of cards that you got laying around.
Correct. Yes. We wanted.
Could,
yes, you could.
Just use You could also just use one set of dice. So,
Well,
you know.
who has one set of dice?
Exactly. Yeah. Also, we chose to do a deck of cards because, in the way that when dice games started, they used D6s because it was a common die people owned already and were likely to have in their home and they'd be familiar with it. That's why we wanted to use a 52 card deck, because it is something I personally, even before we started working on this game, had like 6 decks of cards in my house. And maybe that makes me a weirdo, but I'm pretty sure most people, and you can buy 52 card deck at the gas station. Like, it's a very accessible, recognizable item. We all kind of inherently know the cards, we know the suits, which is also fun because we can play with like the archetype of those suits. So for instance, we key the player character's stats to the 4 suits. So each character has 4 aspects that are suits, hearts, diamonds, and club, and those are related to what that aspect is. So the club stat is your strength stat, while your heart stat is your mindfulness stat, which has to do with communication and insight and being able to like work with the people around you. And then diamond and spades are a little shiftier around that, but the spades are coordination. So it's also like a physical stat about your ability to react dexterously, your agility, your reaction time, and then diamonds is another mental stat, being your intelligence aspect.
A friend of mine mentioned on Facebook the other day that he has many Godzilla themed playing decks that he wanted to use in trying to figure out how to use them in role playing games. He has his own kaiju based role playing game that he's developed. And
Fun.
I mentioned this and he's like, yeah, that's what made me start thinking about it. He has apparently numerous Godzilla decks just laying around the house.
Like playing card decks or like trading?
Yeah. No, playing cards.
We already
That's awesome.
Yeah, by this time next year, it's going to be all cards. Nothing but Godzilla cards, no matter what game you're playing. Now, I have I guess it's a licensing sort of question. I noticed there's in the chat among the backers of this project, there's questions about the digital version of the game. And it's not going to be available as a PDF. It's only going to be through the IDW app.
Yes.
And people seem a little peeved about that.
Sure.
So, I mean, all my games are online right now. I mean, they have been since COVID. PDFs are vastly useful for that reason. And if I'm playing on a desktop computer, I don't necessarily want to have a tablet next to me as well. Well, I will have the physical book, but all my players aren't necessarily going to have that. So is that just the final word on that, or can you take all these messages to the rights holder and see if they'll change their mind?
Want to fill this one, Alan?
Yeah, I mean, I'm happy to chime in. So essentially,
No,
to give people.
Do you want me to?
Oh yeah, you can. Sorry, I thought yeah, if you want to take it, go ahead.
Yeah, I'll go ahead and tackle this one. This is actually kind of like the first place we've really talked about this in any sort of public forum. The fact of the matter is, our licensing agreement with Toho means that we have to protect any of our digital content through some sort of DRM protection software, right? Just how it works with major companies. They want to make sure that their digital content is being protected and not just easily spread around freely. The only way that we currently have to do that internally is through our app. So that's why we went with the app for the hosting platform for this project. It really came down on our side because, like, we get it. We've talked about this. Ellen and I have talked about this. We're gamers too. We know how important like a digital format is and a PDF can be. But it came down to our side of things. We could either offer through our app a DRM protected version of the core rulebook, or we could not offer a digital version. Yeah. So at least for this time being, we are sticking with the app. We are doing a little bit of research into possibly other options, but as of right now, the app is sort of our platform and our solution to offering a digital version. And like I said, it was either that or we couldn't offer one.
I mentioned it because there was another licensed role-playing game funding recently, and they were having some sort of PDF issue with the licensor, and then they showed them all of the pushback on the Kickstarter, and they changed their mind. But in that one, I think there might have been a PDF. It just wasn't included with the physical book. You had to get it separately. That might have been an issue in that one. But they were able to convince them to allow them to include it with the physical book. Extra fee for it, because that's fairly standard in the industry, but licensors don't always understand those kind of things. Well, that's good to know. I mean, it's better than nothing.
Right. And that's where we kind of sat, where it's like we know how valuable a digital version is, and obviously a PDF would be the ideal version of that, or a much better version. But yeah, between not having one at all and being able to do this, we figured we should at least offer this to the people who would be willing to use this version. And as Chad said, we're looking into alternatives to see if we have other options for being able to fulfill the agreement. Because keep in mind, our relationship with Toho expands far beyond this role-playing game. We have been publishing comics with them, I think, for almost a decade. I'm not entirely sure of the dates. And this is an extension of that publishing requirement.
Now, can you access that from a browser, or does it have to be on a phone or a tablet?
The IDW.
Right now, yeah. The IDW app is supported on smart devices, so phone or...
Okay. All right. Yeah, I just wanted to get a little more information on that. Well, before we wrap up, is there anything else you guys want to mention about the Kickstarter? Pledge levels, maybe?
Can we talk about the event we're doing at the end?
Sure.
Chad, I forget if we've announced that yet.
Event?
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, I think I don't know if it's been announced per se, but I know that we are listed up to go. So it shouldn't be a problem to let everybody know that, yes, we will be at PAX East at the end of March. We are, 1 second, I can find the booth number, but we will be at PAX East. Ellen and I will be, if you guys are at PAX East, you can always swing by the booth. We will have some awesome Godzilla merch out there for sale. And we'll also, sometime soon, we should be having signups available for playtest if you're going to PAX East. We'll make some sort of announcement, so make sure to follow our socials at IDW Publishing or IDW Games on Instagram or any of the other socials, and we'll announce it through there, I'm sure, when we can actually turn the website on. But we will be there. Hopefully we get to see a lot of you guys there. Hopefully we get to see all the Godzilla fans, I think.
Yeah, we're super excited. The campaign's going great. Keep on showing up, and like the more you guys show us you love it, the more demand we see, even for anything, including, is just a better argument for us to say, like, yeah, we're doing more books, or we're getting you guys a different way to do, whatever these assets are. So just keep showing your support, and we're excited to be here, and we hope you guys like the game.
Well, since you said playtest, how much development is still to go on the game?
So we say playtest, it's more like showcase plays. We called them playtest back at the last one, but the materials we're showing up at PAX East are full. It is our finalized one shot from the starter set.
Okay.
Yeah.
We're using old terminology.
I meant as a chance for fans to test out the game, not for us to be gathering data.
Okay.
We're pretty solid.
Some Kickstarters, everything's done, and it's just a matter of getting the money to publish it. Other ones, I got an idea for a thing I'd like to do.
No, we're much farther
down the road. On it for 2 more years after the Kickstarter ends. So
we're much farther down.
Yeah,
I did play the little Learn to Play demo. So.
Yeah, that was fun. That'll be something we give away a physical copy of at PAX East. We did a physical copy at PAX Unplugged as well.
Okay, well, I'm sorry I won't be there.
And if any of your fans and listeners want to go on to the Kickstarter, you can download a digital copy of that one-shot adventure from the campaign page. It
gives you a really good taste for generally how the mechanics work as quickly as possible. It is written as a really quick start demo so that you can understand and kind of get your feet wet with how the system feels, even though there's a lot of additional moving parts. So it's really a quick sneak peek to prep you. We actually also are including a version of that demo chapter in the manual itself because it's such a useful quick start guide. And we recommend any new players start by playing that demo to get an understanding for the game.
Right. I hate to bring up PDFs again, but is there going to be a character sheet that can be printed out? Or do we have to go over to the photocopier and smash our book down on top of it?
We are. Yeah, Chad, go ahead.
The proper answer to that is that question's still up in the air. We don't see a necessary reason why it will be an issue, but we just want to clarify things before promising.
Okay. Because it seems like that by itself shouldn't be a big issue as far as digital rights and protecting things, to just have a couple of pages of a character sheet. But...
Yes, exactly.
And like the demo book is also a PDF that you can download, and that's because that's a free item. It falls into like a weird different category. So the character sheets, the antagonist sheets, those would seemingly fall into that same category. We just want to make sure we've crossed our T's and dotted our I's.
Sure. can't get your license are getting upset at you. Well, thank you so much for...
First of all, Toho's fantastic to work with, I do want to say. They've been such a huge asset on this project and really fun to work with, and just really happy to help us get everything off the ground and figured out. And we really appreciate everything they've done on the project.
100%. I think there's always a bit of worry and hesitation when you start something new like this. And they've just been fantastic in like working with us the entire time to make sure that we're offering the best products possible and fitting within the, you know, the Godzilla universe and everything.
Do you have any plans of going to G-Fest to promote the game?
I think we were actually at G-Fest. Was that in San Francisco last year?
I think so.
Yeah, I think we actually went.
It's usually in Chicago.
Chicago, yeah.
I am not aware of anything right now, but that's a good tip. We should check that out with our marketing team.
Yeah, it's the biggest Godzilla convention. I mean, it's G-Fest. It's not Godzilla Fest.
Yeah, it's absolutely. I think this is where the conflict might come in for that. That's July 10th through the 12th, which is right before our Comic-Con stuff that we do every year.
Okay.
That makes sense why we haven't. Yeah, we're heading to San Diego right around there.
Yeah.
There's also a thing called Blobfest that is always on the exact same weekend as G-Fest.
It's so funny, the conventions that do that. That there's Chad, what's the convention that's like right after Comic-Con? Is it Dragon Con is always right after San Diego Comic-Con, and it's so hectic. Oh no, Gen Con in Indianapolis. That's what it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Gen Con's a big one. It's definitely
we went
role-playing games. So
yes, we were at Gen Con. We were at Gen Con a couple years ago, and I went back-to-back weekends, San Diego Comic-Con to Gen Con, and I was sick as a dog by the end of the second one. Oh, yeah. I just needed to lock down at my apartment for a while.
Yeah, I think we had that issue the last G-Fest we went to. So. Well, thanks so much for joining me here today. Folks, if you like what we're doing here at the show, please like and subscribe and rate and review. You can check out all our things at mmftg.com, and also check out our new spin-off show called Mars Needs Movies, where we look at movies about alien invasions, incursions, infiltrations, and visitations. But I think that's going to wrap it up for today. We'll have a regular episode coming out probably tomorrow. So until next time, I have been your host, Precious D. With me has been Ellen Boner and Chad Wood from IDW Games. Remember to keep calm and take shelter in basements. Please don't misuse science. We won't see you, but you will hear us next time on Monster Movie Fun Time Go.
You've been listening to Monster Movie Fun Time Go. If you enjoyed the show, please consider rating and reviewing us on your podcasting platform of choice. You can leave us a message and find links to all our things at mmftg.com.